Knives Out 3 is definitely coming our way with another case for Benoit Blanc to solve, so stick with us until the end to find out what it's all about. To the delight of fans, Rian Johnson's eagerly anticipated sequel has every element that made the original Knives Out murder mystery so fascinating. Glass Onion is a smash hit thanks to stellar performances from a star-studded ensemble cast, razor-sharp writing, and some cutting, satirical commentary. With the film and its mysteries finally decoded, one major question arises: how does Glass Onion set up a sequel? It's reasonable to assume that there might be a mid- or post-credit sequence that lays the groundwork for future Benoit Blanc adventures, given the franchise status the film has now achieved. However, there isn't any extra content to serve as a tease for upcoming entries in Glass Onion.
Hello! Oh my god!
Crew, we've arrived!
It appears that viewers will once more enter the upcoming mystery in the dark. While this might be a little unsettling to audiences so used to franchise properties' constant future teases, it's a little reassuring to know there's nothing else to see after the credits have rolled. Glass Onion relocates us to a completely new setting while keeping only one character, celebrity detective Benoit Blanc, played by Daniel Craig, and the series' core convention, the murder mystery. There's just enough familiarity to draw in the crowds, but Johnson has plenty of room to experiment within his pre-existing framework. What Benoit Blanc's next film will be about is a true Knives Out mystery. It's challenging to predict what story components or characters might be present because the two current movies have essentially turned the franchise into an anthology series. However, using the themes from Knives Out and Glass Onion as a jumping-off point, writer-director Rian Johnson's target class and the privilege of wealth will probably serve as the basis for a similarly hilarious and scathing satire in the upcoming movie. So it's finally time to get excited about our next case.
Benoit Blanc, the detective?
Mr. Blanc, I cannot overstate my gratitude to be here.
Yes, Knives Out 3 is formally taking place. That was part of the agreement with Netflix bought the Knives Out sequels in 2020. After a bidding war, they agreed with Johnson and his producing partner Ram Bergman, which was valued at about $450 million. Knives Out 3 will be produced because that agreement guaranteed Netflix at least 2 Knives Out sequels. Knives Out 3 won't necessarily be the final installment in the franchise because Johnson and Craig both stated that they're open to more than that. Naturally, this is a good thing because we go any further, we wanted to let you know that it's time for you to smash that like button if you haven't done it already. Knives Out debuted in theaters in September 2019 and Glass Onion followed just over 3 years later in September 2022. But those releases took place in a movie industry that was still recovering from the pandemic, and production didn't start until mid-2021. After spending so much money, Netflix would probably prefer a shorter gap between sequels, and the movies are relatively quick to produce. Johnson wants Knives Out 3 to be his next film, so if he can put together a script and cast in the next year or so, a Knives Out 3 release date of late 2024 seems realistic.
Lock the doors.
Stay in your rooms.
That being said, with names like Jennifer Coolidge, Keke Palmer, and Oscar Isaac on the wish list, the internet is already hard at work casting new actors for the third installment. Expect the third film to have another colorful and star-studded list of suspects and potential murder victims, unless Johnson goes rogue and brings back characters from the first 2 films. Of course, Daniel Craig will reprise his role as Benoit Blanc, and we'd like to see more from Hugh Grant in the role of Philip, Blanc's partner, who we briefly see in a flashback scene at Blanc's apartment. However, Noah Segan won't be playing the role that he has already played in the third film. Segan has so far appeared in every film directed by Johnson. He portrayed Trooper Wagner in Knives Out and Slacker Darrell in Glass Onion. However, aside from them, there are no guarantees. It could be anybody. However, we anticipate the number 3 film to have a similarly long cast list as the previous films.
This is not a game.
Johnson is currently keeping his plans a secret, but we do know that he'll be coming back to the US for the third film after his trip to Greece for Glass Onion. Similar to how Knives Out didn't directly set up Knives Out 2, Glass Onion doesn't directly set up Knives Out 3. It would be a brand new case for Benoit Blanc to solve because the entries are all designed to be standalone movies in the traditional Wood Unit style. This will present an exciting challenge for the plot of Knives Out 3, which will need to create yet another mystery that is intriguing, deft, and unexpected for both the detective and viewers, though it's likely that it will involve another murder. So what kind of mystery can fans expect to see Benoit Blanc dig into for Knives Out 3? In a podcast interview, Johnson said, "I'm gonna take the franchise to space, it's time." No, it's time, why not? It's time to take it to space, it's a moon mystery. And then again, in a different podcast, he said, let's say Benoit Blanc is taken to a moon base. We're pretty sure he was joking, but Johnson has mentioned going to space in 2 separate podcast interviews. Johnson is either reusing his jokes or we're about to see Benoit Blanc on the moon. I mean, if Fast and Furious can make it to space, I'm sure Benoit Blanc can as well. Some viewers think there's a hint about the upcoming movie's plot in the second movie. Did you solve the murder of, oh, what's her name, the ballet dancer thing, that's you? Claire de Bella asks in one of the movie's opening scenes when everyone is shocked to see Benoit Blanc at the dock. The third movie might actually be a prequel about one of Benoit Blanc's earlier cases, according to fans who interpret this as a hint.
Hidden clues. You will have to closely observe each other. If anyone can name the killer, that person wins our game.
A sentence this vague might not mean anything in another movie. However, there is a statue of 3 ballerinas hidden among the numerous glass ornaments that decorate Miles' den. And that doesn't seem like a coincidence given all the hints and allusions in Glass Onion. It appears that Johnson, who enjoys including Easter eggs in his films, is hinting at what might happen next. Investigating Claire's remark, we might assume that Benoit Blanc solved the case of a mysteriously murdered ballerina, but upon closer inspection, Claire's remark is wishy-washy, perhaps in the matter of politicians, in that she sets up the murder, forgets the victim's name to be a female, and then rambles about the ballet dancer thing. We might be tempted to assume the ballet dancer is what's her name because of gender norms. However, men and non-binary people can also ballet dance, so perhaps the victim and the killer are confused by this muddled thought. In either case, this might imply that Knives Out 3 is a prequel, looking back at a fascinating investigation that took place between the Thrombys and Benoit's peculiar vacation in Greece. Unless Governor Claire is up for re-election and works from home, I'd say it's safe to say she keeps up with the news.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Because of this, I believe that even her muddled message contains information that can be decoded, but perhaps her confusion over the specifics is a sign that the information about the ballerina is actually quite dated. Although she admits she didn't read the article, she mentions a tennis champ. She saw a tweet about it. Did she get it wrong? Was it really a case involving a murdered ballerina and not a tennis champion? She did mention that you need to smash that subscribe button and notification bell, so you'll never miss any of our videos in the future. Or is Johnson using both of these lines to set up a prequel in which Benoit solves the crazy case that puts him on the map? Perhaps a tennis champ and a ballet dancer are involved in the crime? Benoit served as their route to justice, just as he did for a frazzled nurse and a distraught teacher. It's possible that one killed the other, or vice versa. Rian Johnson is the only person who can be sure. However, there's a thrill in playing Benoit ourselves while we wait for the next installment of these compelling detective adventures. See you in the next video.